Open your eyes.
If you are wondering why everything going on in the world feels so terribly off, then you have come to the right place. A veil has been put over the eyes of humanity. Evil people in high places have been hiding the truth in plain sight and building a false reality on lies and deception for far too long. And now, their time is coming to an end. It's time to fight back, to wake up, and to begin an uprising. Now is a time for judgment.
This is a time for judgment. Welcome to today's show. Yes, judgment, not justice, but yes, a little bit of both. If you heard recently, I actually accidentally said justice. I'm still getting used to it. You know, being a new YouTuber and all, it's hard to remember what the name of the channel is since I just named it. And, you know, I'm a rookie at all this. So anyway, I'm glad we had a little laugh about that. But I wanted to show you what hell looks like, because we all have an interpretation of hell, right? We all think of hellfire and brimstone. And of course, yes, there's the literal interpretation, but we've all said before, hell on earth, we're living in hell on earth. Well, I'm about to show you what hell on earth is going to look like. And if I had the option, because this is going to, of course, be marketed as a great thing, as a futuristic way to live, and it's really just the future prison cell for people to live inside of. It is absolutely frightening, and the fact that people are going to want to live in this is what's even scarier. But that's how mind control works. Convince the people enough of how to behave, how to act, and trick them into wanting things that they don't realize they aren't gonna want. And before it's too late, when they wake up and realize that they're living in a prison cell, they'll be stuck inside and never be able to escape because it's in the middle of the desert. So ladies and gentlemen, let me show you what is being called the line, which is being rolled out in Saudi Arabia in the near future, what they're creating there called the line. And if you want my opinion on it, well, I'll just say this. There aren't many things that I'd probably rather have my genitals chopped off before I'd actually do or be a part of. Well, I'd rather have my balls cut off than to ever live inside of this living hell. Take a look.
For too long, humanity has existed within dysfunctional and polluted cities that ignore nature. Now, a revolution in civilization is taking place. Imagine a traditional city and consolidating its footprint, designing to protect and enhance nature. The line will be home to 9 million residents and will be built with a footprint of just 34 square kilometers. And we are designing it to provide a healthier, more sustainable quality of life. The line's communities are organized in 3 dimensions. Residents have access to all their daily needs within 5-minute walk neighborhoods. And the line's infrastructure makes it possible to travel end to end in 20 minutes with no need for cars, resulting in 0 carbon emissions. By leveraging AI technology, services are autonomous, saving you time and effort. Designed by world-leading architects, the line is 500 meters tall, 200 meters wide, 170 kilometers long, and housed within an elegant mirror glass facade. Intelligent solutions create efficiency and year-round temperate microclimate with natural ventilation. Energy and water supplies are 100% renewable. The line is designed as a series of unique communities, offering a wealth of amenities, providing equitable views and immediate access to the surrounding nature. With 40% of the world accessible within 6 hours, at the heart of the globe's key trade routes, a place for commerce and communities to thrive like nothing on Earth seen before. The line, the city that delivers new wonders for the world.
Isn't that great? 0 carbon emissions. I mean, that's what we all care about. Don't mind the fact that you're living in a cubicle. Don't mind the fact that you're actually living in jail. But of course, we have the interpretation of jail with the bars in front of us, right? And a toilet and a cot. And people don't realize the whole real meaning of jail to keep you enslaved and locked up is actually really occurring right now with quarantines and things like that. They're preparing you for what's leading to that right there. You see, when you crash the economy on purpose and you give everybody an allowance, and then you give them things like an education, which is an indoctrination, and you lock them up in a space like that, and you tell them it's wonderful, and you play futuristic music, and you say, look, it's just like out of a movie. Isn't this beautiful? And it's better than living in having to pay a studio apartment here and there. And you can work inside of here. And then everything you pay, you can actually pay us to stay in here, right? So you could work inside of here for us, and then we'll let you live inside of here. And people, this is great. And they won't realize till it's too late that they're locked inside and trapped because they're not going to be able to escape. And as they mentioned in the clip, it'll be run by artificial intelligence, of course, and people won't be able to escape. They'll be marked, they'll be trapped, they'll be tracked every step of the way, of course, as you heard, with their footprint, which I've exposed many times over the years, the carbon footprint. Even recently, I did a video about that with the carbon footprint and how they use global warming and climate change as a way of tracking and monitoring every step that people take, and how even credit card companies are beginning to do this so they can say, well, we just want to make sure, we're see how often you travel and stuff to see how much carbon you're putting into the air. You're putting too much carbon in, so you can't go visit your grandma, in another state or 50 miles away because you've already reached your limit of travel for the month. And people are like, this is a good thing until it happens to them. And then the structure's in place and this new government's in place, and it'll be too late. They won't have an option. But of course, people are distracted and fighting amongst each other over all these things that the media creates, this racial division, this male and female division, this gay versus straight division, all of this stuff that they're creating. And so they can bring all of this in. And people will realize when it's too late that they wasted all their time and all their energy hating people, hating Republicans, hating liberals, hating people who had certain sexual preferences, all because the media told them to. Because if they went about their day-to-day life, all of the people out there would realize that none of this stuff is actually going on. There's no grocery store where black people aren't allowed to go in and buy food, or Mexican people aren't allowed to go in and buy food, but the media will tell you that, and people actually would believe it. There's no workplace where a black person can't have a job or a woman can't be hired for a job, but the media tells you there is, so people believe it. It's like, can you believe the discrimination with women towards work? And you just look at it, you go, what? What? I mean, there's more women CEOs than male CEOs by these big companies, on purpose, of course. They don't hire people based on skill anymore. They hire people. I mean, look at the current White House and what they've set up. They're just hiring people based on their sexual preference. I mean, and this, of course, is to drive people crazy, right? On both sides, to make them believe in a false reality that's not even occurring. And then, of course, as we continue to get sucked into that, this is built around us, right? We're going to be better people. This is part of the self-prideful movement that they've created, where we're going to be good people and we're going to track our own carbon and we're going to track everything that we do because we need to help one another out. The same thing you hear with the magic potion, right? You need to get it because it's for others, not for you. Huh? What? But aren't they getting it and supposed to be safe and okay? No, we're not answering that question. Just get it and be a good person, okay? Oh, nothing to be suspicious of. I mean, huh? Really? Apparently, really. So let's take a look at this. 9 million people. So this would be the world's first, largest, not first, but largest prison cell. But what this will be is the world's first prison cell where people willingly go into jail. Because, normally people go to jail for committing crimes. But as you can see, if you watch the fake news and everything going on in these cities, if you commit crimes, you no longer go to jail. I don't know if you've noticed that, right? People are like robbing stores and all this stuff, and the people who are supposed to be in Congress don't put them in prison because, well, they might be black or so then they get everybody riled up on the other side. So it's just pretty much just organized chaos, which of course we've all exposed over the years. That's how this whole thing gets brought in, order out of chaos. So people still aren't suspicious somehow. And then, of course, like I'm saying here, this will be a prison cell where people will just willingly go. And I've said that many times about martial law and things. Like, people aren't going to, you're not going to wake up and a military tank's going to be at your front door, like Waco or something. It's going to be something that the people want and ask for. That's why they're doing this stuff with the police. They're convincing people, the cops aren't doing their job. The cops are racist. The cops are this, the cops are that. And look, I'm not for the police because, I know they're part of the Masonic Brotherhood. But I mean, I'm talking about the agenda that's in place here, knowing it, and the police are in on it. And this will bring about martial law. This will be better, and people will make it be better. And we won't have school events occurring because we'll have military soldiers on the, standing at the stop sign with the kids as they get on their indoctrination bus. And it'll go on and on and on. And it'll just be this utopian nightmare that these imbeciles think that they want because their feelings get hurt When somebody doesn't agree with their sexual preference or makes fun of them, they don't have tough skin and can't just laugh it off, you know? So they're just convincing people into this type of lifestyle where they'll willingly go into Saudi Arabia as a 100-mile long mirrored skyscraper mega city. Doesn't it look like fun, everyone? Come on in. You know, we're not going to tell everybody that it's really a cell, you know, because it'll just be like a studio apartment in a sense, but there'll be a door. So you'll be in a room, you sleep in here. Then that door over there takes you to your workplace. And then that door over there takes you to your school, where we'll just indoctrinate you with fake history and all this other nonsense to make you think that all this stuff's going on in the world so that you want to stay inside of your cell here. We'll tell you outside everything is chaotic and the global warming, the ice cap, everything's melting. You got to stay in here. And people are like, I'm so glad I'm in here, right? And they'll keep them under that mindset and they'll want to stay in this cell. And at some point, some people I'm sure will wake up to it and they won't be able to go. So the promotional material is striking, of course. This is the article I'm reading here. It's striking. Yeah, it's strikingly horrifying. 2 mirror-encased skyscrapers stretching more than 100 miles across a swath of desert and mountain terrain, providing a future home for 9 million people. Is it the ultimate in high density living or a grandiose science fiction fantasy? Right, so this is a fantasy? This is like you have a dream, like, oh, I had this wonderful fantasy, this dream about this is what a nightmare would look like. And if this is what a fantasy is to you, I don't know what's going on in your head, but clearly you might want to get some raid because you have some cockroaches and spider webs inside of that place. In short, they say economics, architects, and analysts are not quite sure. So extravagant is Saudi Arabia's plan to create an urban utopia that even those working on the project, known as The Line, do not yet know if its scale and scope can ever be realized. Oh, I'm sure it will be realized. And you might say, man, who's going to fund this? Well, we are. That's the beauty of it. Your tax money, right? Your tax money. What do you think it goes to? Does it go to your school, which, again, it's just an indoctrination state? Does it go to your roads? Does it go to your railroads? No. Half of the money you make goes to funding this. Just think how much money, and I'm not just saying this specifically, but all the stuff that they do. Their underground cities that they've built, we've all funded it for them. That's the beauty on their end that they find beautiful. Obviously, it's sickening, but for them, they're like, this is just unbelievable. We just tell these people our tax money is going to go to Ukraine. These idiots are like, it's going to a good cause. And it's like, what? Where? Nobody asks questions to go, where exactly in Ukraine is it going? Is it building a new building? Is it arming the military? What is it going to? And then they're like, well, we give arms to the civilians. And you're like, oh, wait, but aren't you trying to take our arms here? So how does that make sense? Oh, well, it's different. They're in a war situation. Well, can we be in one somewhere? Well, we have the military. But aren't you the ones that are telling all of us that people who have a difference of opinion of the government are terrorists? Oh, okay. That makes perfect sense. So anyway, that's where your tax money goes. It goes to this utopian hell. So it'll be built. They're just like, oh, we get some of these venture capitalists, the Rockefellers and the Bezos and the Gates, they'll all fund it. Well, of course they would fund it, but they'll never use their money on it. They'll just monitor you when you're inside of there. So this is utopian hell, which will be presented as utopian heaven. Because inside of here, I'm sure if you make fun of somebody, which would be, pretty much, they'll be able to have humor and hate, of course, because they'll do like 1984, the 15 minutes of hate or the 10 minutes of hate, whatever it was, and they could scream out in rage because, people need to take their anger out. Sometimes they get frustrated. I'm sure they'll have they'll probably have the mentioning scripture and everyone will scream rage at it. That'll be how. And then inside of there, if you, don't agree with a man and a boy being together, you'll probably get zapped by the microchip inside you or whatever, however it'll work, the DNA inside you that's controlled. So it sounds like it'll be a great time for these lunatics who want to live in there, but I'm good. But it's funny how they just put this out, the image of what they're going to do. It's out in the middle of the desert. If that's not enough of a sign for people to be like, wait a minute, what if I did want to leave? How would I get out? Because they're not going to be like, oh, you can never go. They're just going to convince you inside of this that you'll never want to leave. That's the point. They'll tell you everything going on in the outside world is hell and a nightmare. They'll say you can go outside for a few minutes to look at the beauty of the mountains and the sunset, and everybody will feel satisfied. And then they'll tell you the horrors going on in the world. Meanwhile, they'll be tucked in a little corner in Saudi Arabia in the desert, where if they try to leave on foot or escape, they will die in the desert or be shot down. But they'll be like, we have free will here. We can leave if we want. Wait a minute. How many miles am I from an airport? 1,000? Does anyone have a car? No. Does anyone have an electric car? Well, the people who run the prison, who run the this wonderful place to live. Oh, can they take me? No. They're not here right now. Where are they? Just go back inside, sir. Everything's wonderful and fine. And it's a great world inside of here. What would you like for lunch? What? Okay, I guess I'll go back inside. You want to play a video game? Yes, I do. Okay. Goes back inside, gets tasered. I mean, I don't know how people could fall for this. But, I've said that many times, and I've realized that we are, like I've said, living amongst a different species of human. And that's true in many ways. The amount of mind control that people are under is amazing. If you don't, a lot of this stuff I point out, like even with Stranger Things, showing you like how they put these characters in place to make Christians always look like, I've done this for years, showing you this, making them look like dorks, look like, forcing things on you. And, the victim is, the guy who's the goth, the kid who's playing Dungeons and Dragons and Stranger Things. I mean, this is all this stuff ties in together with what they're creating and the world that they're creating, this utopian world. Christians are going to be blamed for all the chaos that's going on at some point. They're already hinting at that with many of the stuff with the Roe versus Wade. Oh, it's Christians' fault. It's Christians. They're the ones. The people in the Supreme Court are Christians. Oh, are they? Are they? I would guess that those people drink blood at least once a day to be on the Supreme Court. But it's not like the Supreme Court's real anyway. Just actors in positions, because that's what this whole thing is. It's the devil's government. Or at least it's preparing to be the devil's government. But he's the one controlling the strings until this world government with the Antichrist is in place. So this to me is the ultimate nightmare. When I see this, I think I would take a really long, torturous death before I would live inside of here. I mean, you have to have a lobotomy to live inside of this place. Literally, a lobotomy. To be like, hi, everything's great. This is like if you saw the clips I've done from Black Mirror on Netflix with the social score. I mean, that's how people are going to behave. Talking in a way that approves their score. And inside this city, you'll be able to buy more things that you could take to your little cubicle. Little toys that you can have inside to play with and look at and say, I remember I had something like this when I was a kid. I didn't know that I'm a zombie. Am I a zombie? Wait a minute. What's going on? Where am I? I'm inside of a cell. What? I can't leave. What? How did I get here? Oh, right. I was too prideful to realize what our governments were doing, and I was blaming other people like myself who actually saw this and were trying to help wake me up to it, and now it's too late. So don't say that none of us didn't warn you. If you can't see the writing on the wall of things like this, probably foregone at this point. I want to remind everyone to check out my website at timeforjudgment.com. It's $2.99 a month. It is well worth it. Lots of great stuff over there. There's definitely some important videos that you need to see that are not uploaded here on YouTube because they're not friendly. And, if it doesn't fit a narrative, it can't be here on YouTube, of course, it can be until they find it or possibly the algorithm reads it. Really, that's the big problem. And most of my videos on the website would get read here as a problem. So, talking about potions and stuff. You like potions and what's going on and all the things going on in the world, too, that I don't cover here. Try to cover, a good amount on both. But definitely check out the website. It's the price of a cup of coffee a month, less than. So it's worth it. You'll be on there every day. In the forum, you go on every morning or night. Just take a little bit of time every day to go on the forum for 15, 20 minutes. It'll be like the stuff you need to know is there in the forum. People are sharing it. You can share stuff and tell people, hey, you see this? This is what's going on. And it's all right there in the forum. And any topic, of course, you like to talk about can be shared as well. So check it out. I want to thank everyone for being here on YouTube. Hope you're all doing well. God bless all of you and your families.